At the dentist today, and he's talking gossip and goes a little bit past 10, but not that much. But, I told him I called Blue Cross and recorded it and sent it to. No response to that. He's asking me how I'm doing as he's making conversation to distract himself. Well, last time I was here, he worked on my tooth. I went to the emergency after and found out this, and I still got iron infusions to do. Yeah, no response to that either. When he asks how I feel, like let's say how the tooth is after a filling, I said, do you mean like how my jaw is moving? And because don't ask feeling questions, people. Don't ask that. You don't have the listening skills. You don't have the care and concern skills. And just always distracting themselves. The attention span is so bad. It's so uncaring. They talk to each other instead of saying, oh, we're going to take care of you and we will send. And I have to tell them after, listen to me, you need to pay attention to this. This is meant to help you. Make sure you send in the request for the crown. Cover your tracks so they don't say you didn't send it in. And he said it was done while. So it's very possible that this tells me that maybe some information got to his office from maybe Blue Cross, I don't know. But again, there's just no patient-centered behaviors. There's no cultural repair. There's no problem solving. And like every other professional, be they doctor or certified in this or certified in that, is on my way out when they're guiding me, just like the City West guy. Hey, you agree I did everything I could to keep you as a customer? He wanted my reassurance that he's doing the best he can. And that's what's sad, and that's the difference between an Homo communia and an Homo sapien, because his best he can looks very different than my best I can. So it's one way to know the difference between competence and like an Homo sapien and a Homo communia, because I don't need that reassurance from people. As a driving instructor, I never did this. It's sad. It's people that just kind of want to phase out of reality, facilitate the status quo, and help you without too much discomfort to them, which at the same time devolves, right? It devolves us. When the norm doesn't deviate from the norm, they're part of the problem, and the bad guys win, right? It takes more the norm joining the good guys, and also the norm not attacking the good guys who are courageous enough to put the transparency of the reality of our proto-societies here in Canada or anywhere else around the world transparently online. Like, that's who you have to respect. Like, you gotta respect these kind of elders, the ones that say, I wouldn't act like that, or that's not what a patient-centered looks like. Like, at one point I'm saying, oh my god, this is such a dentist and his staff that I don't interact with, because they just don't care. They're just making conversation without making it. They just kind of open it and then they phase out. And then when you answer, you gotta repeat. Like, I didn't know the word to use, so I used the artificial part of my tooth. And he's like, he doesn't understand what that means. Come on, dude. I have to explain how I use that word, even though it's not the word you typically use. I'm asking the girl, are you okay? Are you okay? Because she's got her arms crossed, standing over me, much of the time at the beginning, which is very strong nonverbal communication. So I'm asking this, right? Because I need to know, will this person care if she makes a mistake in my mouth or not? Because last time I was there, like, there's a big chunk of what they're working on falls on my cheek. In the past, the two people over your face would notice this and clean it up and even say, I'm sorry. They don't care. I have to clean it up myself. I have to almost like not get off the chair, so they gotta have a tissue or something. Like, there's such little effort, and there's so much about talking among themselves and not with the patient, that they have no business asking the patient how they're doing when they don't want to listen. And if they do listen, they don't want to acknowledge the answer and respond in relation to the answer. I don't know what to tell you, and I still tell them on the way out. I said, hey, listen, I'm grateful to have you as a dentist. Many people are, because you take patients with limited insurance. The thing is, though, is in a way that's not really a compliment. It just says, he kind of worries about his image, and his image doesn't have to be competent. It just has to be that we agree with his image of himself.